So nation branding we're talking about, so we're going to make it a little bit more interactive. My name is Guido van Gerderen, if you can pronounce it. Anything similar will do tonight, so if you can say Guido or Van Gerderen, I will respond to you. I am the strategy director. I am based in Germany. I am not German though, I am actually Dutch, so we only have 3 brands in the best global brands. Kind of similar size of countries, right? So, this is You could do at least 3 as well. I'm also the Global Destination Branding Practice Lead. What does that mean? In practice, we work on, for example, the nation brand of New Zealand. We have here some of our latest work from El Salvador, Courmayeur, it's a region in Italy. The Mont Blanc, as you see the mountain in it a little bit. Here we see Graubünden, it's a region in Switzerland where we've been working with for 20 years, doing a lot of export products as well. This is maybe familiar with you as well, Iskander Malaysia, a way to attract investment and the right talent. This is España, this is investment promotion, export promotion. This is Saudi Arabia, Saudi sports, so citizen engagement. This is Sochi from Russia, right? The Olympics, we've done that as well. One more Olympics is coming up. Munich Airport, here you see some of the branding. I love this picture, it's so pretty, right? If you come over and you drive into Munich Airport, this is what you see. So you can see that my practice is quite big, destination branding. But tonight we're going to talk about nation branding, and I want to just dive into that with you a little bit, if you allow me so. So what is actually nation branding? So a lot of people think it's somewhere here. It is a logo. It's not really about the logo. Real nation branding is about figuring out what are your economic development plans. So this is when we have a serious conversation about where do you want to go as a country. And then you attach that to the brand strategy, bring it to life through experience strategy, and then you go to all of the touch points. So very, very simplified. You basically say, hey, we're looking at your economy. So if you want to have economic growth and make an impact, you do that through experiences. It's the most simple way I can explain it to you. And what would be a simplified process to take you to tonight? 1 is we're going to accelerate economic growth. 2, we're going to organize for impact. And 3, we're going to impress through experiences. Well, first, accelerate economic growth. How can you do that from a brand perspective? Well, then I look, for example, at brand associations. So we're gonna play a little game. Are you ready for a little game? Yes? Okay, so my question to you is, and there's gonna be no wrong answer, so just say something. What comes to mind instantly when you hear the name of the country, France? Anything? Wine, I heard. Cheese. Eiffel Tower, thank you. Louvre, I heard. Champagne. Passion. Ooh, I like it. Passion. France, right? Anything from this side? It's very quiet here. Come on, give me some volume. Escargot. Yeah, the good food, right? Anything else from the back? I heard a lot of good things, and they're all good. But it's actually interesting to see here what's going on. The brand is actually in your mind, right? So the brand is not out there, it's not on a marketing billboard, it is actually in here. So I've done this game a lot of times. At different universities throughout the world, I lecture quite a lot. And what comes up most is the Eiffel Tower. 90% of people say the Eiffel Tower. Second is, what do you think, second? Fashion. Fashion is 6th, the very good one. Anybody else, a guess? Second? Wine, yeah, of course wine, right? They're known for the wine, for the Bordeaux, for the champagne. Third one, cheeses, fromage. 4th, Paris, in general a little bit. And often they combine it to Paris, the city of love and passion. Bread, 5th, and like you said, correctly so, the 6th one is fashion. Now, what is interesting is here to notice is these brand associations with France, do they help the economy? Yes, huh? Because this is the selfie you kind of like need to take on your Euro trip, right? You want to be there. This is, well, you know, we can all relate to this. And together with this, these are 2 very interesting export products. And then here we have the city of Paris, city of love. So you have a a reason to go there as well. Now bread's a little bit less, right? Because you cannot really export them, well, the way, but still the French life. And then fashion. So what we see here is we have tourism, we have export products, and we have business. Now on average, if I play this game, France has 6.2 associations. So it's not only about the associations themselves, it's about the quality of associations, pretty good quality, right? You can work with this. And it's also about the number of associations. I've done this game also, for example, with a country like Liberia. It only has 2.1 associations, so way less, and very negative associations, which you first have to get rid of. So we're building great associations that actually help the economy. So then the question rises, if you could add one more association to the current image of Sri Lanka, what would you help? And what would help the economy? Now that is nation branding. So if we do this, I see I'm already out of time, I'm sorry. If we do this with, for example, Kenya, and we look at that, then you see Kenya said, like, we want to keep our association with tourism. So you still see this Kenyan shield, and you see that also represented in its logo. And then at the same time, they said, like, we want to kind of like have a new thing. We want to be the Silicon Valley of Africa. So they called it Serengeti Valley. Very clever, right? And then you see that also in their logo, where you see that they created this link to ICT. Right? You can actually type in the logo by just using your keyboard. But Kenya as well knows, like, there's so much competition out there, right? So many other brands that are really here. So we really have to organize for impact. Because otherwise you just don't get noticed. Look at this. Oh my gosh, can you find yourself? So organize for impact. How do you stand out from the competition? Well, Kenya, they had a lot of brands. They had Magical Kenya Tourism, Tourism Board, Make It Kenya, Choose Kenya. It's kind of similar to New Zealand that had exactly the same thing. Just too many logos. And everywhere they wanted to have their own logo because they're really important. But then they realized it's not about us. It's about how we relate to our visitors, to our investors, to our tourists. So what did they say? And we did this together. We said, why don't we switch? So Interbrand here was more like a facilitator, aligning all of the creative agencies behind all of these ministries and related offices. So does this improve recognition? A lot, right? So you stand out straight away way more. It's also very efficient with marketing budget. And then you have a big event. So here it will be cricket, right? Because it's almost a religion. There they had a big event where they launched it, and then you see it at embassies, you see it for investment, you see it for tourism, you see it, even if you Google it right now, quite consistent when you just Google New Zealand logo. So the third and last point I would like to say, we have to impress through experiences. And when I say impress, it's both sides of the word. Impress is in really making an impression, and an impression in the minds, and also kind of like impress through experiences. So. But what is actually an experience? Well, the simplest definition is an experience are moments that leave an impression. So how do I see that? If I go to Sri Lanka, then going to Sri Lanka is actually quite an abstract thing, just like, hey, I'm going to the beach. So what does it really mean? So when I'm going to Sri Lanka, it's actually made up of all of these moments, right? So, I'll come back after my one-day sightseeing tour, you see? Right? And I say to my wife, so how was it? And I said, like, wow, Sri Lanka was great. I saw a match, I went to this little fruit market, I saw some really old statues, and I went for the tea. I did some tea plucking myself. And maybe in a year when you ask me, I kind of go like, wow, I went to Sri Lanka and went to the tea plantations and I plucked myself some tea. It was amazing. So this is an impression that I'm being left behind. And what is very interesting is that we see all of these moments and then we see a peak that is the impression that you're left behind. And that's quite important because that impression I'm left behind is what Maya says, I've learned that people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but they will never forget how you made them feel. So how does Sri Lanka make me feel? Right? So this is where we actually say like, hey, what are we going to be about in experiences? And then how does that relate back to who we really want to be? And that is true brand strategy. So if you just want to have a logo, you know, just for the show of it, that's not going to make any effect. If you want to do brand strategy, use experience strategy to really impress, then we're talking, because then we're helping the nation further, and then we're accelerating economic growth. And that is nation branding. Thank you.